Right now, India is on the brink of a massive technology-fueled transformation. And at the very heart of it all is artificial intelligence. But what does this AI revolution actually look like? Well, let's start with a number. $1.5 trillion. Just let that sink in for a second. That's the headline figure from a recent EY report, and it represents a truly seismic shift in the country's economy.
So what is that number? Well, that's the potential value that generative AI, and that's Gen AI alone, could add to India's economy by the year 2030. To put that in perspective, that's like a 7% boost to the nation's entire GDP, all from a single technology.
So the big question is, how is this transformation actually playing out on the ground, and what does it really mean for 1.4 billion people? That's what we're going to break down in this explainer.
You know, this is way more than just a tech update. It's really like a modern-day gold rush, a full-on race to unlock a trillion-dollar opportunity that could completely redefine India's economic future.
And it's not just one report saying this. The consensus is really starting to build. Accenture, for instance, projects AI could pour nearly $1 trillion into the economy by 2035. That would boost the annual growth rate by 1.3 percentage points. So the potential is just enormous. But what does it look like in practice?
All right, so let's move past these huge, kind of abstract numbers and get down to the ground level. We're going to see how this revolution is unfolding in the real world, everywhere from software code to farm crops.
Now, adoption is definitely happening, but it's not happening everywhere at the same speed. As you'd probably guess, the tech-savvy sectors like IT and financial services are really leading the charge. But what's interesting is that even very traditional sectors, like agriculture, are starting to get in on the action.
And if you want to see the real-world impact, just look at this. In a pilot program down in Telangana, chili farmers used AI-powered advice for just about everything: soil health, crop planning, you name it. And the results? I mean, they were absolutely incredible. Farmer income literally doubled. Chili yields jumped by 21%, and their costs for things like pesticides and other inputs actually fell.
And you see a really similar story playing out in manufacturing, where more than half of all firms are now using AI. The gains are just staggering. Predictive maintenance alone can slash unexpected machine downtime by up to 50%. This kind of productivity boost is a huge piece of India's big push to become a trillion-dollar manufacturing export hub.
Okay, now let's talk about the tech sector itself. Get ready for this number: $900 million. And get this, that's the revenue from just one IT giant, TCS, from its Gen AI services in the first half of 2024 alone.
And this is a really crucial point. India's tech scene isn't just a consumer of AI, it's becoming a major producer. A staggering 90% of Indian software-as-a-service companies have already rolled out AI-powered features. That signals a massive shift toward an AI-first way of thinking.
So, everything sounds amazing so far, right? $1 trillion opportunity, farmers doubling their income. It all seems overwhelmingly positive. But is this explosive growth actually a sure thing? Well, as always, the reality is a little more complicated.
Because let's be real, on the road to AI supremacy, India is facing some pretty serious headwinds. So what are those headwinds? Well, this breakdown from surveys of Indian companies tells a really clear story. The number one barrier: financial constraints. Close to 60% of firms mention it. And right behind that is a huge skills and talent gap. And then you've got major issues around trust and data quality. And all of this creates what you could call India's AI paradox. It's a real puzzle. On one side, you have these incredible strengths: world-class digital public infrastructure, a buzzing startup scene. But on the other side, you have these crippling weaknesses: a projected talent shortage of over 1 million people, a patchwork of regulations, and a deep digital divide between cities and rural areas.
So, how do you solve that puzzle? Well, navigating this paradox is the absolute key to unlocking the future. And the good news is, a pretty clear blueprint for success is starting to emerge, both for companies and for the government.
So for businesses on the ground, what's the plan? The blueprint is actually pretty straightforward. It demands a big strategic shift, really adopting an AI-first mindset. It means investing heavily in people and research, treating data as a core asset, and working with the government to tackle the biggest hurdles together.
Of course, businesses can't do it alone. Policymakers have a huge, equally vital role to play. Their focus has to be on building the entire ecosystem, reforming education to create that talent pipeline, offering incentives like tax breaks for innovation, and critically, drafting clear rules to make sure AI is developed safely and earns public trust. Okay, so if everyone plays their part and tackles these challenges head-on, India isn't just looking at economic growth. It's really on a quest to become a true global leader in this new era of artificial intelligence.
And you can actually see the commitment from the government picking up speed. Just look at this timeline. It goes from the first national AI strategy back in 2018 to the landmark approval of the India AI mission just this year, backed by a budget of over 10,000 crore rupees, which is more than $1 billion US. The commitment is clear.
So what does a commitment like that mean in practice? Well, the India AI mission is going to provide over 10,000 high-performance GPUs. These are basically the engines that power modern AI, and make them available directly to researchers and startups. That's pure fuel for future innovation.
But the mission is about so much more than just hardware. The goal is to build a complete ecosystem from the ground up, funding startups, developing the skills we talked about, and creating frameworks for what the government is calling safe and trusted AI.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. The potential for prosperity is undeniable. But can India manage this gold rush in a way that builds an AI-powered future that is not only rich, but also truly inclusive for all 1.4 billion of its people? That right there is the trillion-dollar question that will define the next decade.